Welcome to the Creepy Kingdom. We are all about the creepy side, theme parks, films, haunts, and everything in between. We create original films, live streams, vlogs, podcasts, and more. Hit that subscribe button to make sure that you always keep it creepy.
Now it is time to open up the gates. Creepy Kingdom proudly presents the Dark Theme Park Show.
Hey, welcome to the Dark Theme Park Show. I'm James.
I'm Josh.
And we're here at Not Scary Farm.
Ooh.
And we figured this was the best place to introduce our episode about Oogie Boogie Bash.
Why not?
Why not, huh? Anyways, we have an episode coming up right now. We're going to tell you about my time at opening night of Oogie Boogie Bash.
I didn't go.
So I'm going to tell him and then vicariously tell you. We're going to do the things.
Let's do it.
All right. So I'm just going to, talk about this year's Oogie Boogie Bash a little bit here and just share my thoughts. This is my third time attending, and I believe this is the fourth one that they've done because whatever the first time they did pre-pandemic, I think they only had one pre-pandemic, if I'm not mistaken, and I was not able to attend that year. And it had very few dates, if I recall, on top of that initially.
It has expanded dates over time, but yeah, I think there were only maybe 3 or 4 nights previously.
Yeah, it was like really limited.
Right.
They were kind of lumping it in with the after dark events.
Yes.
Because I don't know. I think they even still had the Mickey's Halloween party that year, if I'm not mistaken. The first year of Oogie Boogie Bash. Anywho, now this is, very fast. This has become like the must-do thing. It's selling out ridiculously fast, and it's very limited. The opportunities. It would vary, but the demand is not meeting the supply by any means at all.
Right.
Last year it sold out in like a few weeks. This year it's sold out in hours. They're just like.
And I think that's also a testament to the marketing strategy of this. That for the most part, the thing that everybody goes for is the meet and greets with these characters.
Right. That's the main attraction of what's there.
That's
right?
Yeah, exactly. And so last year they teased a bunch of new characters. This year they did the same thing without giving them away. Right? They gave like little just mystery teases on social media that I think really helped sell the event. And I think the same thing happened this year in the sense like, oh, these are the characters I really want to see that won't be around anywhere else.
Right.
Obviously, Judge Doom being a part of it is a huge one this year, being added in.
I think so. Well, I'll get to Judge Doom.
We'll get there, yeah.
But yeah, the demand is high. Well, I will say that this event is my favorite Disney event of any Disney event I've ever been to. Not so scary. Obviously there's not too many Halloween stuff, but just, not so scary is a lot of cool stuff, but like the fan service of like just being a creepy Disney fan, like Oogie Boogie Bash, like just delivers it, on a silver platter. Every time I'm at that event, I'm on like a high. Like I just like,
yeah.
It's weird to be in a place that you are very often and have like a totally new experience like that, or just a rare experience, as it were. It feels like I'm somewhere else than, a park I visit very often because, we live, right next to the park.
It does. I know that it's not called the like it used to be Mickey's Halloween party. And I know it's not called party anymore. It's called a bash, which feels different. But there really does feel like a party atmosphere to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like this exclusive party that you got invited to, and everybody is dressed up, and there are all these exclusive characters. Like there is a different energy.
Oh
to
yeah,
Oogie Boogie Bash.
The energy is definitely different, and I also will say that, there was an energy that opening night I was there. Just I talked to so many random people like just around me and everyone, because they were all just like Disney Halloween fans, you know. It was just natural conversations come up and everyone's just so excited. Uh, and I saw a lot of people that I usually just see on like social media and stuff that, you know, that follow Creepy Kingdom and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
you know, it's pretty much as close as you can get to like a Creepy Kingdom party at you know, at DCA or something. It's such a great energy. I love it. I love it. I wish I you know, I wish I bought more tickets, you know, more dates, like instead of just going the one time. But I
Yeah.
guess, you know, I'm lucky to even have one. Um, so I do want to say something about the demand though, is that this demand is so strong that I I think this should start in August. I'm just gonna put that out there. Uh, this year, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party's first date was in the end of July.
Yeah.
So it's like the demand is there, and for that, but the demand is 100% there for Oogie Boogie Bash in August.
And I guess to your point in talking earlier about Disneyland and Halloween expanding, so you know, like having more days, like if they're gonna do Oogie Boogie Bash earlier in August, they've got to decorate the park for Halloween earlier. You can't not have the decorations
Right.
out.
That's
So
kind of what I was gonna say about that when I said I wanted it longer. I knew it wasn't gonna last past Halloween,
yeah,
but I mean, there's no real theme happening in August, right? I mean, I know that the park's usually dying down from the summer crowds and all that stuff, but um, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like August first Oogie Boogie Bash, whatever. But I'm just saying, like, I feel like 'cause the other thing is, of course, just adding more dates during September and October. And then you're like, oh, those are times that is going to close down DCA at 6 p.m. But I'm also like, I don't even know if that is the worst thing because, you know, like there's so many great Halloween offerings at Disneyland at night, as we just discussed, like the
right.
fireworks show. I mean, I know not everyone has a park hopper, but most people in the parks are, you know, are animal or magic key holders, you know, like, and I mean, most people have park hoppers too, you know. I mean, I don't know actually. I'm just assuming. I actually have no idea if visitors buy
It
park
could be.
hoppers.
Here's maybe a solution because I think that adding more dates is yes, and going earlier, yes. Do you also think that having a secondary Halloween event would help?
Oh, totally. I mean,
Like you would
they
have
could bring
Oogie
back
Boogie
the hol
Bash.
you know, the Mickey's Halloween party, right? I mean,
They could do that. My thought was actually to still use a lot of California Adventure, but maybe to do something with totally different characters. So Oogie Boogie Bash is its thing, and I understand that like you have the big signage out front, so it'd be really difficult to change all of that. So keep all of that Oogie Boogie, but you could also do something not. It's difficult to say more exclusive, but it could be more exclusive in the sense of doing something
yeah.
at one of the hotels as well.
There well, I mean, it could be anything, right? I mean, the
It could be
sky's the limit,
anything, right?
right? So that
Yeah,
they could do that. They could make an exclusive event that's even more expensive. Don't
yeah.
put ideas there, but that could appeal. That could just take some of that demand away from Oogie Boogie for sure.
Could it be possible also to close down a singular section of a theme park? Like, could they do a Star Wars only, Halloween
Mm,
event,
yeah.
or really any kind of event, like where they would just, if you bought the ticket, you have to be back in that land at a certain time, and it lasts 3 hours, and
Oh
there
yeah.
you get to meet
I mean,
like Darth Vader, Kylo Ren, like all of the more villainous
actually,
characters and stuff like
I mean,
that.
you really got some here because that could easily be done in Galaxy's Edge. That could easily be done in Toontown also. So you could
Yep.
have like a Halloween party for kids, you know, or whatever, whatever, just in Toontown. You could
And
like,
the hope with Runaway Railway, because it's mostly projections, is you could, in theory,
You could make a
add
Halloween
some things.
for
Yeah.
sure, which I think that's lacking representation of the horror elements of the new Mickey Mouse shorts. So that would be a great opportunity to bring that in there.
Right.
I was like, that's a totally different topic, but we'll get to on our
Just some
time.
thoughts.
Yeah, no, I
Going
think
out
that's
to the
cool.
ether.
I think Galaxy's Edge definitely lends itself to that. And then just whatever villains, First Order, whatever, creatures. I mean, you name it. It rates itself, right? It's totally easy to do that. Access to Ogas as part of it, reservations, whatever, like there's a lot of possibilities there. And like I said, it'd be super easy to close it off.
Right.
And access to Rise. I mean, people would probably do it just for that because it's so hard to get on there.
There you go.
Fun stuff. But yeah, Oogie Boogie Bash. So when you have a ticket for this event, you're allowed to go there at 3. The event starts at 6. I could not get there until 5 p.m. because another factor this year is that I believe every single date of Oogie Boogie Bash takes place on a Tuesday and a Thursday. No weekend dates. Which makes it some people can't be there at 3 p.m.
Right. Luckily you don't live 2 hours away, so
no, I didn't live far, but I do work for a living. You have to pay for these annual passes. So.
What? Come on.
Got to pay the Disney tax. So
Right.
And a lot of stuff happening. Can't take off work all the time. So I got there at 5, and man, I messed up royally. You got to get there at 3. And here's some reasons why. The first thing is you need to eat food before 6 p.m. Unless you're gonna have a hard time getting something to eat. It's gonna be rough because everybody is using mobile order. Because nobody wants to stand in line for food because they want to get through all the things they're doing.
Right.
And I had a hard time getting a mobile order. It took me several hours to get what I wanted. Yeah, not even like to get the food, like the time. I meant like, yeah, it was just like it was like unavailable, no times available, and then I guess some became available, or it was like 3 hours later, and I was trying to eat something before 6 p.m. when I got in there at 5. My total plan was I'm going to get in there at 5, get something to eat, and then get ready, do what the first thing I was going to do. But yeah, I didn't end up eating until probably 7:30 or something like that.
Wow.
Which is well past the time I usually eat. So I was super hangry. And I didn't really get to eat what I wanted because I finally got a place, but they didn't have the stuff that I wanted. Like they were sold out of it. So I just ate whatever because I was like, I need to eat something. I was actually feeling weak because I was so pro tip there, eat at 3 p.m. or before you go. I mean, I wouldn't want to eat too earlier because you want to get keep yourself full for the night. So one of my main priorities, which I totally missed last year, was to experience the Minnie, Daisy, and Clarabelle dressed up as the Sanderson sisters meet and greet,
which had a very long line last year.
Yeah, I just totally didn't even get over to it last year at all. So I was I wanted to make sure that I prioritized that, and so I got in that line at 5:20. And at that point, I mean, I don't know how long it was in time because, well, I do eventually, but I didn't know at that time. But it seemed this is probably 20-30 minutes. That's how naive I was about how long the line was in front of me. But of course, it doesn't open until 6 p.m. So that's just 40 minutes of doing nothing right there.
Mm-hmm.
Then I didn't actually get to the photo op until 7:20.
Whoa.
Yes. So it started at 6. And I'm like, oh, this will be 20 to 30 minutes.
And you
You know,
waited in nearly an hour and a half.
hour and a half. So almost 2 hours total, right? Of like when I first got in line just doing nothing. And then when the event started, it was an hour and 20 minutes from where I was.
Right.
Um, now, one thing I will say is that experience of the photo op is not something they rush people through, which is probably why it takes so long. But I would say, and I was just by myself, so you know, I would say I had like a solid minute interacting with them, which
Okay.
is kind of a long time for a photo, right? I mean, most photo ops are like what, like 10 seconds, 15
Sure.
seconds.
But you waited an hour and 20 minutes, so you want something a little bit more, I guess.
And they were so playful. Like they were just like pantomiming so much at me, I couldn't even keep up with it. And they were just acting so wacky. And yeah, actually, I do have a video of it. And the photo, there's just one photo of just all of like me laughing and them like their backs, like I don't know what was even happening. And it's such a fun photo. And Shannon, my partner, she's like, that's the one we're gonna get framed. I love that photo. It just shows like you just so blissfully having a good time messing around with these characters. They were
That's
so much
amazing.
fun. Was it worth the wait? I mean, I guess so, but 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 my real pro tip was like, all right, guys, you're gonna have to wait. Like, there's no way around it. Like, so if you're gonna have to wait, the pro tip is get in line at like 4 o'clock.
Get your food and then stand
Yeah,
in line with your food.
yeah, 3 p.m. Eat something by
Right.
no later than 4. Get in line for this, and for anyone that's still going this season, or this run, because who knows if they're coming back or how it's going to be next year. But get in line by 4, and you're going to have to wait no matter what. But at least you're not wasting Oogie Boogie time. Like I ended up
Right.
wasting an hour and 20 minutes out of the 5 hours of this event. Like,
Wow. Wow.
you would think that, I'd be smarter than that, but I was too naive to be like, yeah, I'm just gonna grab something to eat really quick and then hang out.
Right.
So
You really thought you had it, but
I
you had
did.
no idea.
I honestly like, because also this is now they have these like photo ops that are not part of treat trails, so they're their own separate entity, which I hadn't really tackled before. Last year, when Shannon and I went, we got our picture with Bruno, but um, we just, the line was long, sure, but I don't really recall it being some like hindrance on our evening. Like that, it certainly wasn't like an hour and a half or something. So I just was like not prepared for that at all. So I made that mistakes for you guys. I don't have to.
Do you think though that the Sanderson sisters could or should have not Clarabelle and Daisy and Minnie, but like the actual Sanderson sisters have a meet and greet over at Disneyland, um, and maybe that would help alleviate the Oogie Boogie Bash side.
Probably, yeah, because they do have to. I mean, it's definitely the novelty of they're dressed up, that part of the demand. But I think it's really about that it's the Sanderson sisters, right? So
Yeah,
so possibly.
because
Uh,
Hocus Pocus has really become its own cult, following.
mhm.
So anything to do with that film is going to have a long line. I don't believe that in the coming years that line is going to die down at all.
Probably not. That's what I'm saying. I think this advice will stand strong for at least next year.
Right.
So yeah. So this year they had 2 new characters. You alluded to before, Judge Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and another character, the villain of Big Hero 6, which I don't remember his name, which I've only seen Big Hero 6 once, and obviously when you think about the film, you just think about Baymax, so I don't really think about the villain. So I mean, he was fine. It was fun, but
it makes sense that he's there because they just opened.
yeah, they had him in the new Big Hero 6 area, so totally
Right.
fine. He was amusing. It was totally cool.
Yeah.
But Who Framed Roger Rabbit is one of my all-time favorite films. It is definitely my favorite Disney film. So the idea of a Judge Doom meet and greet is like, for me personally, it's pretty incredible. And it was the only tree trail I went through twice. And also, and just the tree trail situation is, I think it's such a cool idea. The idea to have, like, you walk through these trails and there's different people giving you candy, and then the character interactions are part of it. So you're not waiting in line just to meet the character. Now you're not getting your own photo, but I like the interactions, and they're putting on like a one person, play.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're like just talking about, whatever the character is, does or is involved in, but they can also see you and interact with you, and it's such a cool, unique experience, and a great way for a lot of people to experience it without, like, just waiting in line and having your one family at a time or one group at a time situation.
One of the things that I really personally loved coming out of the pandemic, and I wish they still did this, it's like one of the only things that kind of worked, were the kind of improv little performances that they do. They used to have like Winnie the Pooh come out with this little butterfly catcher and wander around, or they had like Rapunzel and Flynn Rider like hanging out in Fantasyland and going back and forth with each other while they also talk to guests at a safe distance, obviously. But like those kind of interactions, I feel like that are part of the Oogie Boogie Bash, kind of worked all year round with this, and I would love to see more of that, just in general in the parks, but like an expansion of that as they've continued to expand the meet and greets with Oogie Boogie Bash. Like, really is the crown jewel of the whole event.
No, for sure. Yeah, I feel like that was I think they did have like a scaled down version of it and the original Oogie Bash, as I recall from photos. But the idea of bringing characters to the treat trails, I believe that was a day one for Oogie Boogie Bash. But I mean, the only comparison you have is Not So Scary, where that is definitely not the case. It's just candy treat trails. There's no character interactions on those. So I just applaud that, because even the idea of getting in the line is to interact with the character. But you're never really bored because you just keep throwing candy at your face as you go through the thing.
Yeah. Well, and they do a pretty good job with the elaborate sets that they add for each character. The music in that area that matches those characters.
Oh, yeah.
It all kind of works. Like, I don't mind standing in that line, especially knowing that not only am I going to get a ridiculous amount of candy, they give you so much leaving there, but also, yeah, you get that fun little character interaction by the end of it.
Yeah, it's I definitely applaud it. So the thing about Judge Doom, and I sat through, I think I seen his whole like loop of activities because I went through it twice. It's just like the recreation of the animated Sue dip killing. Oh my god.
It's time to make tunes. Respect the law. What are you doing there? Darren kid gloves, ladies and gentlemen.
Like, I remember we posted that on our social media from the cast member preview. We ended up getting that footage from our friends at the Haunted Attractions Network and put it, and they shared it. We collabed that footage, and people were like in the comments, like, "Oh my God, my heart! Oh my God, the torch!" It's like, because that's like, that was so intense in the original Roger Rabbit, like, and they're like, "Yeah, we're just gonna recreate that continuously." And it looks even cooler in person. Like, it's like, it's such a subtle trick. Oh my God. And one of my favorite things that he does. So what, and just to backtrack, one of the things I love about Who Framed Roger Rabbit is the amount of detail the writers took to place it in its time. So only characters you'll see in the film are from characters of that time. I'm sure there's exceptions, but for the most part, the characters you'll see, you only see films that were released up until that time period.
Right.
I'm positive there's exceptions, but not for Disney characters. And also the plot of Who Framed Roger Rabbit is Judge Doom wants to get rid of the trolleys to build freeways, which was like a real thing that happened. Like,
right, yeah, exactly. It's such a like weird thing that they're like, oh yeah, by the way, in this like weird cartoon movie, we're gonna add a serious socio-political movement that happened in Los Angeles in the background of this film. But again, it goes really well with Buena Vista Street,
right,
because of the trolley that's there and the time period.
right, and actually, that's Judge Doom brought up the trolleys on Buena Vista Street, and that to me, just like, I love that. It was so cool because he's like, your precious trolley on Buena Vista Street, because it was called the I forget what it's called, the movie, the Greenleaf or whatever. It wasn't called.
There's the Red Line.
Red Line, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, Cloverleaf was a company.
Yeah, Cloverleaf's a company.
Yeah. Anyways, he referenced those trolleys, which is for that time. I was just like, oh my God, that's such a. I don't know if it was that performer to do that or if that was in the script or whatever, but that's those little touches that I just eat up, that I love, especially since I'm going on about how much I love, the continuity of Buena Vista Street, and I love the continuity of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, to build this, like, hey, these freeways you drive on now, it's because Judge Doom shut down the red car, and that's why you don't see cartoon characters walking around anymore, because they just hang out in Toontown. I mean, free building it at Disneyland, but they really built a world to be like, this used to exist and cartoon characters used to be all over the place, and this is why it's not happening anymore. Like, they cared that much in that level of detail, and I love that, just that little nod, and Judge Doom brought it back together, just saying, like, hey, we're going to shut down the trolley at Buena Vista Street. Going to build freeways. And then, of course, ties into the fact that he's talking about how great freeways are to a bunch of people that sat in traffic to get to the event. And it actually works on the level of that you don't even have to know what he's even talking about. So, like, you don't have to be that familiar with the movie. But the other thing I have to say is that this is so bizarre that they decided to do this, because I feel like they've been like trying to like just get rid of Roger Rabbit, but when they're not like fully doing it, they're just like taking away like the edge of that Roger Rabbit had in any way, like in cartoon spin. I mean, they let it survive, but only Jessica's now a detective and she's completely covered up.
Right. No more sexy Jessica Rabbit.
Yeah, no more of that. I support anything Jessica wants to do. That's totally fine. She could be a detective. But I'm just saying that, it was an odd choice. I definitely, somebody championed this, in the creative place.
Right.
It certainly was not a Disney mandate, right? Because they just keep trying to like bury Roger Rabbit in the film and all this stuff. So I don't know, but and then with that, I mean, is it just people that are like our age that are like super stoked over, or was like our kids? Do the kids even know who Judge Doom is?
I mean, to be fair, we're probably the people paying the money to buy those tickets. So
Yeah, I actually want to point that out. There is like the ratio to children to adults at Oogie Boogie, and it's like so off. And that is an adult event. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
some kids there, but I mean, like, I
they're
would say
not
it's
throwing
probably like
down the money for that.
no, I'd say it's like 10, 15% like people under 18,
Right.
like of any age. So I guess it all works. I don't know. But my favorite encounter, she debuted last year and she's still there this year, which is Agatha Harkness from WandaVision and Avengers Campus. Agatha Harkness is actually a character that I am totally obsessed with. Um, just in general, not just because of not even within Marvel, just like she's such an incredible character. I love her so much, and I love that they brought her to the event. I thought maybe it would just be for last year because it was like the first post WandaVision version of the event. Actually, I think I'm off. No, this is now the third year she's been there. I think it doesn't matter. I'm glad she's there, and not only am I glad she's there, like she tells some really dark jokes that I think really push the envelope, even for a Disney event.
Now, all of you, did you see my dog here tonight, Sparky? I like to keep him close. He does tricks. You want to see one?
Yes.
Sparky, play dead.
Oh.
You may applaud. He gets that one right every single time.
I love her so much, and I love the character. I love Catherine Hahn, who plays her. I think the people that portray Agatha do a really great job of impersonating Catherine Hahn.
For sure.
And I love it even more than Judge Doom. It's still my favorite. She's the best.
I would say that that is also one of the highlights of Oogie Boogie Bash, but really of Disneyland in general. Disneyland does such a good job of hiring face character actors more so than I think Walt Disney World does, and I think that's a testament to Southern California, people that are actors, stunt
Right.
doubles,
It's Hollywood.
etc. It's Hollywood, yeah, so it makes sense. But they do a really good job at hiring the right people that look the part, that act the part. It adds to that more so than anywhere else.
Right, and can sound close to the characters and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So very cool. A few other tidbits about the evening. Villains Grove is a new thing that it debuted last year in the Red Creek Trail. That's what it's called, right?
Yes.
I was like, I don't know. I never go there except for during this. And that's like it's if you're not unfamiliar with it, it's a projection show where you just walk through these areas and then there's music and lights and projections of like basically kind of walking through like the villains would be there. And it's thus far the closest thing stateside that you're going to get to Disney haunt kind of experience. Right. There's no scare actors, but as far as atmosphere and walking through a thing, the line is very intimidating. It can go all the way back to Judge Doom, and then it actually loops back 3 times. There's enough line there for that because this line can get very long. I got in. It was pretty. It was almost to the entrance of Grand Californian is about where I got in the line, and I was expecting it to be like an hour or something, but it was like 15 minutes from that point. So
it moves pretty quickly, yeah, because it's always moving. It never really stops.
Right. Well, they do stop. They let in groups, but it's not a constant conga line like a haunt or something. But I just feel like the groups are large that they let through. But besides one point where they stopped the line for a little bit for some reason that I don't know, it really feels open and you don't really feel like there's a lot of people around you. So you really have that like discovery feel like you're going to like discover something. It's definitely a must do, and you definitely want to keep supporting it so they keep doing stuff like
bringing
this.
it back. Yeah.
Yeah, and just give you the. It is a dream of mine for Disney to create, haunt like experiences, like temporary, immersive Halloween walkthrough experiences. I don't, they're never gonna have scare actors at a Disney thing, but that they could do that and it would go gangbusters.
I mean, they did ask people, last year, um, if a haunted house experience would be something they'd be interested in on surveys. And obviously they introduced the Marvel Zombie Captain America.
Mm.
So we're getting closer.
We're getting closer. I got a survey too, and that was on there again this year as well. And of course, I clicked 10
You said
yes all the way.
Yes, yes please.
Yes. They had a bunch of, I forget what was on there. Of course, I'm not supposed to talk about it, but they had a bunch of things that were like so great that I was like, oh my god, I would love all this. But I made it a point to like in the comments to say about the haunted house experience. I was like, it's like, bring this to me. One last thing I want to mention is the Frightfully Fun Parade. Generally speaking, I don't always watch parades. It's not usually like my favorite thing. The Festival of Fantasy Parade at Magic Kingdom with the fire breathing dragon, I'll stop for that.
I'd even say that the current Disneyland parade is actually pretty good.
I'm just saying for me, I'm not commenting on whether it delivers as a good parade or not. I'm commenting more on
Sure.
like that I don't stop and make specific plans to watch parades. Like it's
You
more
gotta
like
watch.
it's more like I catch it. So I haven't done that. I mean, like I watch like when the mainstream electrical parade came back for the 50th time last year. I did watch that because I love Bro Down. um but the only parades that I typically like will set up shop and watch are the Halloween parades, whether it be the Frightfully Fun Parade or the Boo to You Parade at Mickey's Not So Scary, because obviously I want to, support and celebrate creepy Disney.
Right.
But I really, really love the Frightfully Fun Parade. I was
It's good.
like I everything about it. Like I get become like gleefully. I'm like overjoyed while watching it. Like the song, I was telling you about this, off air or whatever. But it was like the song is so good. Like it has this like, it's still kind of like Disney family friendly, but then
Right.
it's also like uh I mean, it's not. It's like sort of spooky. I don't know, but just it's an incredible piece of music. I just love it so much. The floats are incredible. Just so much spooky detail. And they're all creepy because I feel like the Boo to You parade, like not all the floats are like creepy. I know they have like Vanellope and Wreck-It Ralph one, which I don't know why that's in there at all. I mean, I love those characters and all, but I don't know what they have to do with Halloween or maybe
Well, I
candy.
also think that this parade is shorter than the Boo to You parade at
It
Magic
definitely
Kingdom.
is, yeah.
And in that way it kind of cuts out all the fluff, right? Like
Mhm.
and I personally, again, maybe this is another uh you know 2020 2021 time period during COVID, but the addition of like the smaller parade cavalcades rather than this giant long parade, um I prefer it. Maybe because it's, for this parade in particular, there aren't enough people in the park for you to have to go and wait an hour to get a spot for the parade,
Right,
which is helpful. And then because it's shorter, it feels like it's not eating up as much time.
right.
Uh,
That's for sure.
so, I kind of prefer that. I like, do I love the afternoon parade? Yeah, of course. But am I going to wait an hour to sit there and get a front row seat? Like, no, I don't care that much. But I think more people would
Right.
be interested in seeing parades if they happened more often and were shorter. Really,
No,
what
I
I'm
mean,
learning is that Oogie Boogie Bash is setting up what I think the best version of the parks should be.
that's true. I mean, I think I think I don't think we want more people waiting for the parades because I feel like there's just plenty of people that cram the streets for the parades currently in
Right.
Disneyland. We got caught in a traffic jam just the other night with that.
Yes.
Um, and for us, I feel like if it's like, oh, let's go see this parade, like we would as locals, we would have to make that like our specific plan. Like we would have to get there like a few hours beforehand and just like camp out
Yep.
and that's like a luxury that we could do but not something that everybody could do. They don't want to spend like 2 or 3 hours wasting their Disneyland day when they traveled even a few hours to be at the park. So but either way, I love it. I love the street performers. They're always so great, and I mean, always the Haunted Mansion grave
The grave
diggers.
diggers.
I actually think that they also have the ballroom dancers there. I think that their performance is great. And then they just have this like, here's every villain like in your face, which is what we all want, at the end of the parade.
Right.
And it's just I love it. I do love it. And it's definitely worth taking, 40 minutes out of your time, like just get there a little bit early, find a spot, and it's probably like 15 minutes or something. I don't know how long it actually is. But I always end up watching it right across the Mickey wheel, so I have I know it's not called that anymore, Pixar pal around wheel. Such a tough
Always the
name.
Mickey wheel to me.
I don't pal around. Jeez.
I prefer the sun wheel.
I prefer Mickey's Death Trap because
Yeah.
Anyways, you have Mickey in the background. It's a beautiful shot. If you've seen any footage of the parade from me, then it's always right there. But also it seems to be like a good amount of space right there to find a spot kind of last minute right over there. So very, 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 very cool. But yeah, I mean that was my Oogie Boogie Bash experiences here in a nutshell. I didn't do any other like stand in line photo ops. But I think another new one was Madame Mim, and she was pretty funny.
She premiered last year.
She didn't. Oh wow, I totally missed her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's great though, but she's kind of hidden back in Adventures Campus, back by the theater there.
That's not. Well, it's funny that's not where she is this year. This year she's where Ernesto was, and then Ernesto had that whole area because there was such a demand for that one that debuted last year because it's the incredible prosthetics of a singing skeleton man. And it actually worked out really well because last year it was definitely cumbersome to deal with because it was such a tight space in there and nobody wanted to leave because so now they have it set up so that whole back area on the side of Hyperion, it's just him. So they have the walkway in front of him, but then that whole middle area is like roped off, and then people could just stand there and watch the show. And there was probably like over 100 people just standing there watching the show, but it wasn't clogging up the line.
That's good.
So yeah, I thought that was a good move on whoever made that decision to put him over there.
Okay.
But yeah, I totally missed Madame M last year. But anyway, she was funny. Yeah, and that's it. I think I covered everything I have to cover. I just we need more dates. More people need to experience this.
Will you be going back again next year?
For me, yeah. I mean, there's of course that we're gonna go and cover this for Creepy Kingdom, but I might actually not even be the person that covers it for Creepy Kingdom. I might, pass the reins to someone else, and I might just go for fun.
You're buying my ticket, is what you're saying? Is that what?
Maybe.
Creepy Kingdom is buying a ticket for me. All right, let's go.
Depends how the Patreon goes, but
Patreon.com/Creepy Kingdom. Send me to Oogie Boogie Bash next year. We're crowdfunding it.
Oh my god! In our Slack, I think I said last year or a few months ago, I was like, I'm like, hey, if we have a good year, everyone, the whole team can go. And I'm like, we're gonna have to have a really good year.
Those prices keep inflating.
Yeah, I don't even remember how much these tickets are, but I feel like they're around 130 or $50 or something like that.
They were, I think last year, they were probably around that. So it hasn't gone up too much, like if that's the case.
Yeah, I think it was something around there. I mean, is that worth the money? I mean, that's subjective, right? I mean, I'm gonna go. I love it. I'm gonna pay the price.
Right.
I mean, I don't, what is the price they're gonna price me out? I don't know. I mean, I keep wondering that with our annual passes, but but they keep not hitting it, and I keep paying more money.
Yeah. I just looked it up, and it's the night that you went, $134.
Okay.
Depending on the night, it could go up to $159. So it's all
Right,
a little
yeah.
bit all over the place, but I could definitely see these tickets, especially if they don't add more dates. They might try and push them up higher next year into like the 175. I wouldn't be surprised if the busiest nights or closest nights to Halloween end up being around 200.
Oh my god! You know what's crazy about that is that I just don't think it's even going to slow down the ticket sales. But it's such a great product that everyone is just all about it. And of course, the main reason that everybody loves it is that they get to take photos for social media.
Right.
And you can't stop that demand.
Nope, not at all.
Hey, I'm part of it too. I'm no judgment. I'm just saying, like, I feel like that is like probably the number one selling point of the event. You get to wear costumes in the park and take pictures for social media.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's an idea for event, like just that. Like you just get to dress up in the park and take photos. Like nothing else there. Like for your alternate events or whatever.
People would pay for sure.
I bet you that would take some of the weight off of the ticket sales for Oogie Boogie Bash. That's probably the best idea to take the pressure off right there.
Well, I've been surprised that they haven't had a lot more of the Disney After Dark events at Disneyland this year.
Yeah, the year before
because
they had several.
Yeah, those go like gangbusters, and I think that those would help alleviate some of the Oogie Boogie Bash if they had more of those. But
yep, and then they didn't bring back the Christmas thing that they experimented with last year.
So bummed about that. I want Muppets.
Did you go to that one?
No, and I thought I'll go next year.
Oh boy, listen to you. I'll go next year.
I know.
All right. Well, Halloween time is in full swing, of course, until October 31st at the Disneyland Resort. If you're going to Oogie Boogie Bash, have fun. If not, there's plenty of other stuff to do. We didn't even talk about the hundreds of Halloween food items.
Too many.
Yeah, it's way too many. We Josh and I usually try to like hit up a lot of this stuff for all the limited time food offerings. We were like, we're not even going to attempt.
This is not even worth trying now.
Yeah. Don't have the time or money to afford the amount of stuff that they have. But that definitely adds to the fun. Lots of stuff going on there. So yeah, come on down, and maybe you'll see me and Josh there. And if you do, say hey. I listened to this 2-hour podcast.
There you go. Perfect.
You've had to get to this point in the podcast to
right.
get this
Yeah.
Instructions. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap this one up, but Dark Theme Park Show. We have more haunt coverage coming your way. We got Halloween Horror Nights episodes coming, Not Scary Farm, and more Disney theme park episodes coming as well. We got a bunch of announcements recently at Destination D. There was the leak of Disneyland Forward, which alluded to more rumors of what's coming on there. So a lot more Dark Theme Park Show coming your way.
Woo!
Well, that's it, dude. We're wrapping it up.
What do you mean?
We told everyone about Oogie Boogie Bash, so we got to get out of here.
Oh.
We got some scary farming to do.
Let's go.
Let's go do some scary farming.
I'm into it.
Yeah, anywho, hope you had fun, and I think it's time to close the gates.
Thank you for watching, and thank you to our sponsors and Patreon producers for making this video possible. Hit the subscribe button so the creepy fun never has to end. This is Hannah reminding you to keep it creepy.